Have you ever sat in the quiet of your room, staring at a ceiling that once held your dreams, and whispered, "Is it really over?" Not out of desperation, but out of confusion. Not because you're weak, but because your soul remembers something your mind can't explain. Because deep down, you felt it. This wasn't just a person. This wasn't just love. It was a moment that touched your soul. A connection that left fingerprints on your faith. A bond that felt. Written. But now, all you're left with is silence. No messages, no presence. Just memories that loop like unfinished verses. But what if it's not finished? What if what you called a breakup was never meant to be an end? What if it was just a divine pause? Let's begin point 1. The gentle exit that broke you. Not every love ends in fire. Not every goodbye screamed. Sometimes, the most devastating departures are the quiet ones. They don't slam doors. They slip through them. You didn't get closure. You got confusion. You didn't fight. You faded. There was no betrayal. Just distance. And you didn't realize how much it hurt until you tried to pray and their name still echoed through your SUJOOD. You see, people think heartbreak is loud, but the deepest heartbreak is silent. It's the quiet breaking of something sacred inside you. It's trying to read Quran and suddenly remembering the way they used to remind you to do so. It's attending a wedding and suddenly feeling your chest tighten because you once imagined them standing beside you at yours. But here's the part no one tells you. Not every separation is a rejection. Sometimes it's divine protection, not because the person was bad, not because you were wrong, but because the timing wasn't right. You are praying for the bond, but Allah was preparing the hearts. What you had was real, but Allah knew it wasn't ready to last. And so, He paused it. Not out of cruelty, but out of mercy. Point 2. Time doesn't heal. What you do with it does. Give it time, they said, and you did. But instead of healing, you just got better at pretending. Instead of peace, you just became quieter. You moved on the outside. But inside, you were still stuck in the last conversation, the last moment, the last prayer you whispered their name in. Here's a truth no one teaches you. Time isn't a healer. Time is just space. What heals is what you do in that space. Do you fill it with bitterness or betterment? Do you drown in memories? Or do you rise in remembrance? Your heartbreak was never meant to leave you hollow. It was meant to make room for something sacred. Allah didn't ask you to erase the memories. He asked you to transform them. That ache in your chest isn't just pain. It's proof that you loved without malice, that your heart still feels, that your soul still hopes. And most of all, that your connection to love still reminds you of Allah. That's not a weakness. That's worship in disguise. 3. When you lose someone, but find yourself, you begged Allah for a sign, for a message, a dream, a return. But all you got was silence, or so you thought. But what if that silence was the sign? Because when heaven goes quiet, it's not absence, it's examination. It's Allah asking, will you seek me now? Will you find yourself now? You see, maybe the breakup wasn't between you and them. Maybe it was between you and the version of yourself that was still clinging to love instead of surrendering to love's author. You were chasing someone else when Allah was waiting for you to come back home to Him. Maybe this loss wasn't a detour from your destiny. Maybe it was the beginning of your alignment. Before you can reunite with someone in the world, you have to reunite with who you are in the eyes of your Lord. And in that silence, something beautiful happens. You begin to see clearly. You remember your value. You rise not for them, not for validation, but because your soul is finally tired of kneeling to everything except Allah. 4. The fire that didn't burn you. It refined you. You thought you were being punished, But gold isn't punished when it's placed in the fire. It's purified. You see, Allah doesn't burn you to break you. He puts you in the flame to make you shine without the impurities. Your love was real, but was it free of ego? Was it based on faith or fear? Was it rooted in taqwa or in trauma? Sometimes you need to separate, not because the love wasn't real, but because it was raw. And Allah doesn't give you raw things to settle with. He wants to refine them so they can last. If you're meant to come back together, it won't be out of emotional need. It will be spiritual readiness. You'll both return with softened egos, purified intentions, and hearts that seek Allah before each other. And if you don't return to each other, then you'll still return to yourself, to your faith, to your Lord. And that's a win either way. 5. The do as you never spoke out loud. Some prayers aren't in words. They're in sleepless nights, in breaking voices, in heavy hearts that can't even find the language. You didn't always pray with eloquence. You prayed with pain. With a "Yeah, Allah," whispered into your pillow at 2 a.m., tears soaking your hand, with a silent "please." Before you slept. With a longing in sujud you didn't even understand fully. Allah heard, because Allah doesn't respond based on your vocabulary. He responds based on your sincerity. Every silent wish, every quiet hope. Every tear you hid from the outside world, He recorded it. And maybe what you're hearing now isn't just a video. It's an answer. To the prayer you didn't know was being accepted. 6. If they return, it will be divine timing. If they come back, it won't be chaos. It'll be calm. They won't return with apologies. They'll return with understanding. No more "I miss you" with no plan. No more confusion masked as emotion. Just peace, purpose, and presence. Because when Allah writes a reunion, it's not messy. It's mature. And your soul will recognize it. You'll look in their eyes and see something different. Not the person who left, but the one who grew. Not someone rushing to be loved, but someone ready to love rightly. It won't be a repeat. It'll be a rewrite. Written by the author of mercy. Edited with tears. Sealed with sabr. Because Allah's reunions are sacred. And they only happen when both hearts are finally aligned with Him. 7. And if they never return, you still win. Yes, this is about hope, but it's also about truth. And the truth is, sometimes they won't come back, not because you weren't worthy, but because something better was written. The story you wanted and the story you needed were different. And Allah always gives you the one you need. You wanted them, but Allah wants your wholeness. You wanted their return, but Allah wanted your rise. Don't measure love by presence. Measure it by transformation. If losing them brought you back to Salah, if letting go brought you closer to Allah, if healing made you more humble, more sincere, more soft-hearted, then you didn't lose. You were chosen to evolve. 8. The pause was sacred. You thought it was over. But what if this entire time it was just a pause? A moment to catch your breath. A chance to grow individually. A reset. Maybe the connection wasn't broken. It was preserved. Allah doesn't waste love. He purifies it. He protects it. He pauses it until the vessel is ready. And if He brings it back, it won't be the same story. It will be a new chapter. Written not with desperation, but devotion. So, what now? Close your eyes. Forget the timeline. Forget who left first. Forget the silence. And ask for something deeper. Ask to be aligned with whatever is care. Ask to love without attachment. Ask to be whole before you're ever someone's half. Ask for the strength to trust the pause. And when you finish your prayer, whisper this: Ya Allah, if it's meant, return it with barakah. And if it's not, remove it with mercy. But above all, let me love you more than anything I lose. Final words. You didn't find this message by accident. Maybe your heart needed this right now. Maybe Allah heard the cry you didn't say out loud. In this video, these words are your answer. Not the one you expected, but the one your soul needed. So, don't chase what left. Chase who you're becoming. Because when you finally become the person Allah intended, only what's written for you will remain. And it will be beautiful. And it will be yours. Because it was never a breakup. It was a pause. Sacred pause. To prepare you for something only Allah could write.